What's up, you guys? My name is Ian Eastwood. You might know me from some crews like Young Lions and Most Wanted Crew, and working with some artists like Childish Gambino and Chance the Rapper. If you haven't seen the piece that we're about to break down right now, go ahead and stop, check it out, and come right back here. I liked songs that basically create a space for me to tell the story by the simplicity of the vocals, and usually it's just a guitar, maybe it's a piano, but all acoustic instruments. And I literally went to my release radar on Spotify to try and find something, and I literally see this Pink Sweat song at the very top. A little backstory of why it connected with me is actually my lady, she's overseas, and she's gonna be there for the next 6 months, and I miss her desperately, and it's only been 1 month since she's been gone, and I'm just like a pathetic puppy awaiting her arrival back here. It's nice that you could FaceTime somebody and see them right away, but at the same time, there's like certain like really romantic gestures that we don't really get to like participate in anymore. I thought about how people used to like write songs for each other, and I think there's something really special about making something for somebody. I sent this to her and called it like my little love letter to her. She'd know I'm thinking about her, and yeah, that's like really the essence behind the reason I made this piece. So let's check it out. Here we go.
The world is mine, but I want you. I close my eyes and deja vu helped me realize I'm right where I should be, yeah. I want you more than just a night. I die for you, I give my life, and I realize I'm right where I should be, yeah. When the world is over, I'll wait here for you. Through space and time, I'll still adore you. Oh, nothing feels better than you.
Yo, this is mad hard.
Oh, nothing feels better than you.
Yo, Young Lions are goats.
All those kisses and hugs
For
wake
learning
me up
this
in
day
the
of.
morning. Forever I'm yours. Just know that I'm all in. 'Cause nothing feels better than you. Love ain't blind, and that's the truth.
Big shout out to the original Young Lions. You got Trevor, Bong, and Anthony in there. They learned this the day of. Before I get into it, I'll just say up front, you might see variations of the same concept repeated. I think it's important to create almost themes and motifs that become recurring so that they're easier to understand, similar like a chorus in a song. If I'm trying to get someone to latch onto what I'm doing visually, I like to create little memorable hooks or moments that maybe come to life in different aspects throughout the piece. So keep that in mind. Keep a lookout for the motifs. I'll point them out as they come. Let's start from the top. Because of the simplicity of the song being acoustic, it's nice to bring attention to what's happening into the guitar, because that's what really creates the whole pocket that the lyrics are like dancing around on top of. It's not that the guitar means something more than the guitar, but it's almost like a grounding factor, because a lot of times when you have acoustic songs like this, the separation between words and moments is so far apart that you have to fill this space with something rhythmic and driving. And a lot of times I like to bring in the guitar. So you'll see it probably maybe 3 or 4 times in there. Back in.
World is mine, but I want you.
Okay, so right at the top. So he says, the world is mine and I want you. So what happens is we pull up the world, like I think it's Mr. Universe, whatever Arnold Schwarzenegger was, with the pose where the guy's holding the globe. So that's the concept, is like we're holding the globe, the world is mine and I want you. So what happens is you spin the world, and then while it's spinning around really fast, you spot that the person you want is right here on the map, but the globe is still spinning. So that carries you around and you find that point on the map. Bing! Right there on the globe. We lift up the world, we spin the world, we find who we want, and then the spin, the momentum of the imaginary globe basically carries you around to end where the person is. Next line is, I close my eyes in Deja Vu. So here you'll see I just, I close my eye, literally physically close my eyes. Now I choreographed it to go actually left and right, but I think I said even in the class, like, I'm not gonna give you guys eye choreography. You could just close them on the first eye shut. Now, Deja Vu is something where you're just going about your regular day-to-day life and you feel, I've lived this moment in my life before. So the concept is the whole globe, Mr. Universe spinning around, find you concept. We felt the deja vu of that same spin pull us around, and that's what happens here. It's a lot of concepts in a really condensed amount of time. Then it goes, help me realize. We basically open our eyes because we're scared, and we look through the eyes, and then the legs shake like you're really scared, like you're shaking in your boots.
Realize I'm right where I should be, yeah.
This moment is when I decided I liked the piece. When you're doing something experimental, I try to really choreograph from an experimental perspective. It keeps my choreography looking and remaining fresh. As I continue on through this section, I felt that it was, I guess you could say, peculiar. That's why it solidified, like, okay, now I think I have something here. And this is where it starts to get into like just more dancing, I guess. It's still really highly conceptual. He says, I'm right where I should be, yeah. So this is where we introduce the first time of the X marks the spot, like motif. The dancer shakes down and establishes like, oh, I'm realizing this is here, and like, this is like new ground for me. And then the X marks the spot happens right underneath yourself in a natural flow. Right where, that's on the words right where. Then this goes, I set that up so that you can change the weight. Should. Then the head lifts so that you have somewhere to initiate the release of the knee. And then you basically did X marks the spot, and then you're gonna say, I should be right there. So you put yourself onto X marks the spot. Technically, it's in front of X marks the spot, if we're being picky. Boom. And then you're like, yep, that's exactly where I wanna be. Guitar, vroom. Like I said, guitar is a grounding moment. So we just did something super conceptual right here, and then the guitar actually grounds us back into the rhythm of everything. Boom, boom, boom. Picking something that's like recognizable, even if you have to use it multiple times, is not necessarily a bad thing. We're like 19 seconds into this, and there's already like 7 concepts or something like that. You have to like ground it at a certain point with something that's not just like confusing people.
I want you more than just a night. I die for you, I give my life.
Okay, that's like 2-3 concepts right there. This is that moment where maybe you're like at a picnic or something with your loved one, and you just plop down, maybe even the bed, whatever. And this is you just like thinking something, and you're like a little bit nervous to bring it up. You're drumming your fingers like, ugh, I've been thinking about this. I hope this person feels the same. Now the lyrics are, I want you more than just a night. So that's why you're nervous. You're like, I wanna tell this person I wanna be with them more than just like maybe this first date. What's more than just a night? To me, in my head, I thought, okay, what's more than just a night? A week. That's the next leap, right? You think day, week, month, year. So I go, okay, then just, I counted the syllables. I want you more than just a night. We count all the days. 7 days a week. I want you all 7 days of the week. Next, we have this army crawl.
I die for you, I give my life, and I realize.
Honestly, I thought about my grandpa who went and served in World War II, and just like what it must have been like missing your wife and kids. He was a marksman, and so I do the dive over to the army crawl. I give my life. He says, I die for you. And then I do, it's so funny because I just went from something super serious, like my grandfather in war, which is horrible. And then it goes to something like super like pop culture-y. I do this Sammy Sosa. And then you realize it's like the thought waves through your head. It's like goes through your brain waves.
You more than
Then
just
it's
a
the night.
night.
1,
I
2,
die for
3.
you,
I give my life and I realize.
I'm right where I should be, yeah.
I'm right where I should be. I don't know if it was my mom who told me this. There's like a grounding exercise where you literally like establish where you are. You're self-assuring yourself. Like, I'm right here, I'm right where I should be. Me, all of me, my head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So I literally do head, shoulders, knees, toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Right where I should be, yeah. Basically, you outline yourself, whoop, and you're like, yep, this spot, and this is like, I imagine that I'm like cuddled up next to Leslie, and I'm like, right here. This is right where I wanna be. Yep, right here. Then you look at the person, or like you establish their eyes, boom, and then those eyes turn to you, and then you nod at each other, like you both agree, like this is where we both feel we wanna be, right here together. Oh, it's so sweet.
I'm right where I should be, yeah. When the world is over, I'll wait here for you.
He says, when the world is over, I'll wait here for you. I'll do anything for you. We play the guitar, ground ourselves with the rhythm of that, and then we create a world right in that space, then we crush the world. I'll wait here for you. So we do wait. It's like a 2-layered time concept. Me and Brian talk about this all the time, that we like ran out of time concepts like 10 years ago. But this is actually one I haven't done before. So back at it. So we're back at it. Well, I do the normal time that we've done for years, which is like establish the wrist. I'm like doing it, and I have a watch right here. So establish the watch, and then rotate to represent the hands on the clock spinning. But I match that by as though I'm the hands on the clock, I put this leg back here. When I plant the hands on the watch, I also plant the leg back here, right here, and then I pull and rotate the clock as though I'm the hands on the clock and I have a clock on me. So it's like a double layered concept, woo. We scoop out everything underneath to land right back where we just were, and then we bring back the motif of the X marks the spot of this is where I wanna be with this person. So I think that's the second time that we bring that concept back. Then from here, same thing, guitar grounds us rhythmically.
When the world is over, I'll wait here for you through space.
There's like a nice, like a 70s ballad like guitar strum. And that's what we do this wave through right here.
Through space and time,
now, we are dancing on the guitar strum as we glide across. But then what happens is, as we're like dead gliding across, the arms are unfolding, and then it leaves you perfect space to add just a little bonus points of acknowledging, spend some time, right? So we bring the clock back, we just did the clock, we bring it back again.
Through space and time, I'll still adore you.
Spend some time, I'll still adore. So I just thought about like when you just like are maybe on a date with someone and you just keep holding their hands. And so that's what happens here. So I push myself up. That's like established almost as though it's the other person's hand. And then this hand represents my hand and it combs through, and then the other way. Literally, like when you're just like chilling with someone that you're just adoring and you're just looking at their hands and you're just adoring them. Then this is where when you love someone, they're laying down and you're just like, I had a rough day, and you just collapse on them. And you're just like, I'm mush. Be mush with me. Adore, and nothing feels better than you. The knee grabs, and then you establish the you, pointing at the person that we've been laying next to underneath the knee. Then what's really weird about this is that the shoulder stays down and we roll over the top of the shoulder and twist it around to then hit the back vocals of la 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 la.
Nothing feels better than you.
1, 2.
Nothing feels better than you.
Then he says, nothing. If you were to look at what a run looks like as a vocal, it actually is like bouncing up and down like this. In order to look like the run, you have to condense the movement to be really small to match the bounce of the run. Timing is more important than it being physically impressive. Look at how little I'm actually moving here on the run.
Nothing feels better than you.
Right, and because he says the feels and it's like nice and staccato, then I can bounce off that and create some space around this. And that makes everything nice and airtight.
Nothing feels better than you.
Feels better than you, right? So we're really just chopping up the lyrics here. Then it's like you've already established the you where it's pointing, but then it gets stuck on the way. To match the run, you. This is like my favorite part. It's like a little notes in there to Leslie. I just was able to have the honor of getting to be the male lead in her music video that she just released, Bachatica. It was a huge, crazy learning curve experience for me because I had to learn bachata and learn how to actually really dance with the partner. So what happens here is that we go into the timing of the bachata. So it's like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I put some like a little bit more choreo flavor on it, not so much, specific, authentic bachata. I know I'm gonna get flamed in the comments. It has to really start to pick up here because we're wrapping up, the song is coming to a peak and it's gonna have to have a quick outro as well. So let's give some context to this section. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
All those kisses and hugs.
Yeah, so that's me dancing with Leslie right there.
All those kisses and hugs. Wake me up in the morning. Forever I'm yours. Just know that I'm all in.
Forever I'm yours, just know that I'm all in. So we hit literally everything here. We hit every single word. We've really built up this like swell of like slow rising energy the whole time because we've been on the ground and pulling all these like intimate moments to life. And now he's picking up his pace within how the lyrics are hitting. We've done all the storytelling. We could continue to do the storytelling, but now we're gonna do it with more emphasis and more focus on the dance. What I did was he says, just know that I'm all in.
Yes, just know that I'm all in. 'Cause nothing.
You're saying just know this. In my head, it's like you're tuning the like knob on the guitar. And then that tuned instrument now, you pull with it for the no. So it's like you're doing a musical thing, embodying the guitar itself, and then you're also tying that in with his wordplay. So it's kind of like another double one. Last part, last little section.
Forever I'm yours. Just know that I'm all in. 'Cause
nothing. So remember we established the X marks the spot. Now we're saying nothing, like nothing except what's right here. Then he says, feels better than you.
Feels better than you.
Basically, this is pulling up the sheets and being like, yes, it's our time to cuddle, like the best time of the day. We'll watch like Sopranos or something on TV or like the morning show. And then this is actually something that I do to her just as like a joke and also like trying to be sappy all the time. When she's driving away, like sometimes I'll like hold her car and other times I'll just stand there and like draw little hearts in my eyes. All of that cute coupley stuff. It's like a very, very deeply layered callback. Super, super simple ending, but it does have a nice cute meaning. Let's let it rock. Basically, you're just tapping your feet. What this is literally like when you're laying with someone that you love and you're just lost in their aura and you're just listening to music and you're just naturally tapping your feet in the covers or off the side of the bed. You're just like naturally, you're just like, and then your feet are just kind of like going to the music and you're just like, oh man, my life is so nice. And then the end is not like going away from the person, because I realized afterwards that it could look like you're going away from the person. When we sleep, it's super funny because we'll be sleeping, but in synchronicity, we'll switch sides together. So we just do a spoon invert. There's a lot in there, man. There's a lot of messages in there. Even if someone doesn't quite get it, just having intention and purpose behind what you're doing creates a more full experience and a more full piece of art that you can, stand on. If you do want to learn this piece, don't forget you can click on the link below and learn it from Steezy. So Enjoy.
Hold. I close my eyes and deja vu helped me realize I'm right where I should be. Yeah. Doom, wow, wow.